Welcome back to V News. In today's edition, the stories that made the headlines are:
President Trong Dan Sang works with staff of the Command of Vietnam Mobile Police Force. Government holds regular meeting in Hanoi on March 6. Asia remains Vietnam's major rice market.
First are the details on the working session between President Trương Dan Sang and staff of the Command of Vietnam Mobile Police Force under the Ministry of Public Security in Hanoi on March 6th.
President Sang spoke highly of incessant development and great achievements made by the Mobile Police Force. The President said along with maintaining public order and security, the force contributed to ensuring safety for important political events. The state leader suggested that the force continue to study and promote implementation of the party and state guidelines on national security and social order. He asked the force to consolidate in terms of politics and ideology and raise skills for staff to make the force an important part of the people's public security force. Representatives from the command and its subsidiary units expressed their determination to improve and set up new operational projects in order to enhance their crime-fighting ability and fulfill all assigned tasks.
Also on the same day, the government held its February regular meeting in Hanoi to discuss economic and social issues in February and the first 2 months of the year. The meeting was chaired by Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng.
While discussing the socio-economic situations during February and the first 2 months of the year, Prime Minister Dũng and government members said ministries, branches and localities have actively implemented the resolutions of the party, National Assembly and government and the directives of the Prime Minister on market price stability and promoting production and trading. In February, the Consumer Price Index rose by 1.37% over the previous month, lower than for the same period last year. Export value is estimated at 8.2 billion, up 24.8% year on year. All sectors continue to effectively implement social welfare policies, including support for poor households and provision of training and vocational training for rural workers. Prime Minister Nguyễn Dan Dũng asked ministries, branches and localities to continue to prepare flexible and timely policies to curb inflation, maintain macroeconomic stability and ensure growth at a reasonable level. The Prime Minister directed the State Bank of Vietnam to continue implementing the roadmap for reducing interest rates and ensuring rational credit growth. Associated with inflation, the Prime Minister asked ministries and localities to remove difficulties and obstacles for businesses and help them to sell their products.
National Assembly Chairman Nguyễn Sinh Hùng held talks with visiting President of the Danish Parliament, Mogens Lykketoft, in Hanoi on March 5th.
During the meeting, Hùng said Vietnam wishes to deepen its relationship with Denmark, making it more practical, sustainable and effective. He expressed thanks to Denmark's support to Vietnam, especially in poverty reduction and environmental protection. Hùng called on Denmark to push up its assistance to Vietnam in education, healthcare, poverty reduction, as well as increase bilateral trade to greater than $421 million as at present. Chairman Hùng said he hopes the two sides will further cooperate in the development of the energy industry, wind power, and coping with climate change. He also proposed the two legislatures soon negotiate and sign a joint cooperative agreement. Lykketoft noted there is a great potential for Vietnam and Denmark to cooperate in the fields of trade, investment, education, and scientific research. He said he always supports and contributes to cooperative relations between Denmark and Vietnam, affirming that his visit presents the expectation of the Danish Parliament, government and people in tightening ties with Vietnam in all fields. Lykketoft highly valued Vietnam for effectively using Denmark's assistance in its national development process. He added the Danish Parliament and government always encourage its businesses to invest into Vietnam. The same day, Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng also had a meeting with Lykketoft in Hanoi. Prime Minister Dũng spoke highly of the working results between the Danish guests and National Assembly Chairman Nguyễn Sinh Hùng, saying that the visit will contribute to developing Vietnam-Denmark relations in all fields. Likatov affirmed that Denmark will continue to provide Vietnam with official development assistance until 2015. He expressed his hope that Vietnam and Denmark parliaments will further promote cooperation and experience sharing in judicial reform in the future.
When compared to other regional developing countries, Vietnam wins high appraisal from the international community for its Gender Development Index, said a female parliamentary member.
Trương Thị Mai, chairwoman of the National Assembly's Committee for Social Affairs, was speaking at a seminar on implementation of international commitments and laws on gender equality held in Cần City on March the 5th. Mai said, "The law on gender equality has made elemental changes in eliminating every discrimination of gender equality, creating gender equality opportunities for both men and women in every aspect." The National Assembly inserted gender issues in many codes and ordinances to ensure equality and create opportunities for women to participate in many areas of life. The legislative body passed the law on gender equality in 2006 as a message on legalizing principles of the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women in the Vietnamese legal system. The seminar was part of a cooperative program between the Committee for Social Affairs and the Canadian International Development Agency.
According to the Vietnam Food Association, Asia still remains the major market for Vietnam's rice, accounting for almost 70% of the country's export volume.
Asia is followed by Africa with over 26%. Other markets, such as America, Australia, and the Middle East, consume less than 1% of Vietnam's rice exports. In February this year, Vietnam shipped abroad almost 348,000 tons of rice, earning $165.25 million, a decrease over the same period last year. At present, farmers in the Mekong Delta provinces are harvesting the winter-spring crop, with a yield of 6.32 tons per hectare. According to the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, output for this year's winter-spring rice crop is likely to reach 10.34 million tons. However, many farmers were concerned about rice prices in the Delta region last week, as it decreased by 400 and 500 Vietnamese dong per kilogram compared with the previous month's price.
M&A activities in Vietnam are forecast to keep on rising in 2012, particularly in the partnership with Japan. This was heard at a seminar on attracting M&A partnership between Japan and Vietnam enterprises held on March 6 in Hanoi.
Although the total number of M&A deals decreased from over 340 in 2010 to around 250 last year, the total value of the deals more than doubled during the period, increasing from $1.7 billion in 2010 to $4 billion in 2011. Last year saw an increase in interest from Japanese companies in Vietnam's M&A market, with 23% of total deal value coming from Japan. There is great potential for Vietnam and Japan to work closer together in the mergers and acquisitions field. According to recently released statistics, last year saw 16 mergers and acquisitions between companies from both countries. This year, the figure is likely to rise to 40 or 50. Experts say finance and consumer goods are the two most appealing sectors to Japanese enterprises, with 50% of the deals struck in these sectors. Remarkable deals reached last year included Mizuho Bank purchasing a 15% stake worth $543.8 million in Vietcom Bank, and Unicharm buying a 95% stake worth $125 million in Diana, Vietnam.
almost 1.4 million tourists flocked the northern province of Quảng during the first 2 months of this year, in which 540,000 accounted for foreigners, representing a year-on-year increase of 33%.
According to statistics of the Provincial Department of Culture, Sports and Tourism, in February, Quảng Ninh welcomed 890,000 holidaymakers, earning 647 billion Vietnam dongs, up 12% over the same period last year. The provincial tourism sector saw these positive results because of the increase in cruise ship visitors. Apart from receiving the cruise ship of Superstar Aquarius, which carried tourists from Hainan, China to Ha Long Bay 2 times a week, the province also welcomed other international luxury cruise ships such as Costa Classica, Princess Daphne, and Pacific Venus.
That's it for now. We'll see you again tomorrow. Thank you.